Hello, good evening and welcome to Spotlight. My name is Nwong Falong. There are very few women in Ghana's politics. The terrain is riddled with many obstacles, some of which are gender specific. This woman we are speaking with tonight has, however, managed to be serving in her third term. We are speaking tonight with Madame Ursula Owusu-Ekuful. She is the Minister for Communications and Digitization in Ghana. Welcome to Spotlight, Madam.
Thank you, Nwong. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening.
It's an honor to speak with you. There's something I usually say about natural hair. I say when I walk into a room and I see black women in natural hair, there's a surge of power within. And I have spotted quite a number of women within your office with very beautiful natural hair, including yours.
That's what makes us unique as Africans. And so we've done the whole hog of straightening, curling, wigs, you name it. But then finally I decided that I was going to go with short hair. And I kept that for a few years and then locked it. And I'm loving...
When did you lock your hair?
5 years ago.
Oh,
4 years ago.
Yes. Oh, but that's quite a growth.
Yes.
Is it what led you to lock it? What were you looking to achieve?
Convenience. The short hair, I grew an afro.
Okay. And
maintaining the afro was challenging. I think this was in 2012, 13, thereabouts. You'd sit back, and when you got back, you'd have a flat back.
Oh, you have to puff it up again. I remember that piece.
Yeah. It was getting challenging. So somebody suggested, okay, try the locks. And I said, I'm not sure about it. She said, hey, you try it. You just wake up in the morning, shake your head, and you're off. And
you can jump into the shower without worrying.
And if it grows long enough, you can style it whichever way you want. So it's versatile.
Did you know you could even put braids on it?
Yep.
I've seen a lot of people do that. I haven't gotten there yet. Now, you do not agree with Sam Jonah's claim of what he calls the return of a culture of silence.
What's his definition of a culture of silence? Because the culture of silence that I remember from the PNDC days was a far cry from the very vibrant media landscape that we have today. There was only state-owned media. You needed a license to operate, and you could only sing praises of a government in power. Anything negative that you said would land you in serious trouble. People were thrown into jail for expressing their opinions. It got to a point when people were even afraid to speak freely, even in the comfort of their homes, because they didn't know who was listening in, who would report them to the authorities. So it was a state-sanctioned silence. You couldn't speak for fear of the dire consequences that would fall upon you if you were reported to the wrong authorities. People disappeared merely for expressing their opinions, lost their livelihoods, and were thrown out of jobs. Today, I don't see the government systematically imposing by fiat a gagging order on anybody. You can't, even if you wanted to. And you cannot shut people out of the media space because you control it. There's a proliferation of private broadcasting stations. Now, I'm not even sure if anybody would attempt a coup by shutting down GBC. That would be an exercise in futility.
But these are extreme measures. Is it not possible to have like subtle gagging?
How? I just want an example of it. Where is the subtle gagging?
You know,
where is the coercion from officialdom against free speech? Look at our social media platforms. Sometimes our friends from the sub-region, one thing they complain about is that Ghanaians talk too much. We discuss every issue to death, and the trivialities abound, the absurdities abound, but you take the good with the bad. If you want free speech and a vibrant media landscape, you're bound to get the mavericks and the lunatics, fringe also operating in that space. We have it all. So I hesitate to see what he means by a culture of silence. Maybe it's a phrase he just threw out there for effect and to get us all looking at what's happening there. Yes, there's a lot of trivialities in the media if you follow the conversations. Even the quality of the language itself makes some of us gag at the construction of some of the sentences and the issues that agitate people's minds that they get hot under the collar over. Sometimes you wonder, really? But that's what it is.
I like that you bring in the media, because I think Mr. Sam Jones' critique did include some aspect of what he calls media freedom. I looked it up a bit. The World Press Freedom Index claims there isn't much protection of journalists in Ghana.
What does that mean? You're going about your business, and it is this false perception that we have thrown out there. Of course, they would also have their own indices which they mark to see whether which journalist is being attacked for plying their trade. Now, journalists, like every other professional, would get accidents. People get murdered in this country.
Well, I was just going to say we have Ahmed Swale's death, which is, one very
journalist.
critical.
No,
I think the problem with that
killed the gentleman from GPHA, Ghana Ports and Harbors, the lady, she was killed in her own bed. My own son, Fennec Autry, died, was stabbed to death in his room. Does it mean whatever trade that he plied was under attack? I get worried when we overgeneralize incidents that occur. I'm not saying that his death was not unfortunate and that it was normal. Every death is uncalled for, especially unnatural deaths and violent deaths. Nobody would wish that on their worst enemy.
But a lot of people...
Was there a pattern of systematically attacking journalists, state-sponsored? Is there evidence that whoever murdered Ahmed Swale was an agent of the state sent by the presidency?
Well, it's not been concluded.
Exactly.
The investigation hasn't been concluded. But here's the thing. A lot of people link his death to his work as a journalist and some of the documentaries he worked on. A few other journalists have also mentioned security concerns like Manasseh Azuri Awoni. Don't these things count?
I get death threats. MPs have died in the course of their work. Are MPs under siege in this country? Politicians have lost their lives. Does it mean that there's a systematic attack on journalists by or politicians or members of parliament by the state? Let's think about it. Are we not stretching this argument a bit to the heights of absurdity?
Don't these incidences cause a bit of fear?
Amongst the general populace, yes.
Okay.
Not specifically because any class of worker is being targeted because of the work that he does. That's why what I want us to interrogate. What about all those who also die, violent deaths in the course of their business? What about the victims of domestic
few months, and yet, despite all these challenges, your young business is still here. For some of you, you're even thriving. We're here to celebrate your tenacity and give you that extra boost by spotlighting your business. The ultimate question is, what is your hustle? To partake, go to our social media and drop a comment on this same video on our social media telling us about the name of your business and what you do to stand a chance to be featured in our Workers' Day special show. You will get 5 minutes to pitch your business to hundreds of thousands of viewers right here on MX24.
What questions are on your mind? Does partisanship permeate every aspect of Ghanaian life? Can Africans truly run their own affairs without a need for foreign aid? Do you have absolute confidence in the ability of security agencies to come to your aid when you need it? Do the emergency lines in this country even work? For answers to these and more, join me, Nwang Falong, on MX24.
Shared by our fathers, our mothers.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Ours just went black too.
Secretary, you need to put the phone down.
Mike, what the hell is going on?
I said put the phone down.
Mike, please, just tell us what you know.
Eagle is gone. Sir, you are now the President of the United States. What we do has consequences, intended and unintended. The decisions we make, the actions we bring, have weight.
When did it become a crime to succeed in this country?
We spotted a suspect trading pattern. All 3 firms have links to Bobby Axelrod.
Be careful out there.
It's 18:30 GMT live from Silicon Square.
This is the MX24 News.
Let's head straight into our stories.
At least 2 people have lost their lives this morning.
There are snakes and alligators inside the gutter.
Connect with us online and on air.
Press the pawn student to pay fees in full.
We bring you the news as it happens.
The company is on the verge of collapse.
Call any of our many news reporters across the country and share your community stories. Make a date with us as we tell the fun, fearless, and factual stories across the length and breadth of the country. This is MX24 News.
Space because you control it. There's a proliferation of private broadcasting stations. Now, I'm not even sure if anybody would attempt a coup by shutting down GBC. That would be an exercise in futility.
But these are extreme measures. Is it not possible to have like subtle gagging?
How? I just want an example of it. Where is the subtle gagging?
You know,
where is the coercion from officialdom against free speech? Look at our social media platforms. Sometimes our friends from the sub-region, one thing they complain about is that Ghanaians talk too much. We discuss every issue to death, and the trivialities abound, the absurdities abound, but you take the good with the bad. If you want free speech and a vibrant media landscape, you're bound to get the mavericks and the lunatics, fringe also operating in that space. We have it all. So I hesitate to see what he means by a culture of silence. Maybe it's a phrase he just threw out there for effect and to get us all looking at what's happening there. Yes, there's a lot of trivialities in the media if you follow the conversations. Even the quality of the language itself makes some of us gag at the construction of some of the sentences and the issues that agitate people's minds that they get hot under the collar over. Sometimes you wonder, really? But that's what it is.
I like that you bring in the media, because I think Mr. Sam Jones' critique did include some aspect of what he calls media freedom. I looked it up a bit. The World Press Freedom Index claims there isn't much protection of journalists in Ghana.
What does that mean? You're going about your business, and it is this false perception that we have thrown out there. Of course, they would also have their own indices which they mark to see whether which journalist is being attacked for plying their trade. Now, journalists, like every other professional, would get accidents. People get murdered in this country.
Well, I was just going to say we have Ahmed Swale's death, which is, one very critical.
No.
I think the problem with that...
killed. The gentleman from GPHA, Ghana Ports and Harbors, the lady, she was killed in her own bed. My own son, Fennec Autry, died, was stabbed to death in his room. Does it mean whatever trade that he plied was under attack? I get worried when we overgeneralize incidents that, okay, I'm not saying that his death was not unfortunate and that it was normal. Every death is uncalled for, especially unnatural deaths and violent deaths. Nobody would wish that on their worst enemy.
But a lot of people...
Was there a pattern of systematically attacking journalists, state-sponsored? Is there evidence that whoever murdered Ahmed Swale was an agent of the state sent by the presidency?
Well, it's not been concluded.
Exactly.
The investigation hasn't been concluded. But here's the thing. A lot of people link his death to his work as a journalist and some of the documentaries he worked on. A few other journalists have also mentioned security concerns like Manasseh Azuri Awoni. Don't these things count?
I get death threats. MPs have died in the course of their work. Are MPs under siege in this country? Politicians have lost their lives. Does it mean that there's a systematic attack on journalists by or politicians or members of parliament by the state? Let's think about it. Are we not stretching this argument a bit to the heights of absurdity?
Don't these incidences cause a bit of fear?
Amongst the general populace, yes.
Okay.
Not specifically because any class of worker is being targeted because of the work that he does. That's why what I want us to interrogate. What about all those who also die, violent deaths in the course of their business? What about the victims of domestic violence? Is it the state which is sponsoring this attack on women in their work homes and their workplaces? Let's be careful we do not draw too much, dwell too much on and make too much of situations that don't exist because we want it to be that way. We would like to think as journalists that we are being unfairly attacked. I'm sorry, but you're not. I think that there is more of an era. You can't have it better than it is to practice the trade of journalism today.
In Ghana?
In Ghana.
Could it get better though? Could we work on our press freedom?
Absolutely. There's always room for improvement. We can't say we have arrived. So yes, there are challenges, but this isn't the worst state in which journalism in this country is being practiced. And I challenge anyone to look dispassionately at our history and conclude that this is the worst time in history to be a journalist in Ghana. Have we forgotten the days of the shit bombing of press houses and deliberate
Aren't we comparing ourselves to the worst times?
But that is our history.
Right.
If we're saying that press freedom is under attack in this country and journalists are under attack, what are we comparing it to? We have to look at the best times of our contemporary history and the worst times of our contemporary history and then draw the balance. Where are we tipping towards, the worst or the best? I say currently, even ordinary citizens, because of the power of the smartphone, are being investigative journalists. And press houses like the BBC are encouraging people to speak their minds, share their opinion, and are publishing.
Even local stations.
Even local stations are doing that. Many of the exposés.
You know, lately we have this citizen vigilante thing. You can, you know, even citizen journalist, you just take a video of your area, you know, and whatever development issues are going on, and you can send it to the TV station.
There you go. When have we ever had that ease of publication of events around us than we have now? Yes, it can get better, but really, in my opinion, and I can only
But you agree that we can improve and
Absolutely.
try to match the best standards.
Absolutely. But
and improve our rankings on the Press Freedom Index.
It might be useful to take a little box or two there, but really, is that the reality of our situation? I think not. So let's be a little objective about analyzing the press scene in Ghana today. Many of the statements that are made, and my apologies if anybody takes offense, are actuated by partisan politics. And so we overgeneralize, or we ascribe the worst motives to what is happening when maybe that doesn't exist. Because let anybody challenge me, and if we have the foremost champion, anybody who's championed press freedom better than the president, let him raise his hands and stand up and be counted. I don't think any such individual exists in our Ghana of today. But it may be fashionable to, for whatever our own reasons are, tag him as an intolerant person. Then you really don't know the person you're talking about. You don't know the man Ekuful.
Interesting. You recently met with the Norwegians, especially the Norwegian ambassador. You're working on a project that the Ghanaian youth are interested in finding out about. What was this meeting about? And what you signed, how is it going to benefit us?
Thank you. That's a project I'm very passionate about, the Digital Transformation Centers project that we're working on with the Norwegian Development Agency and the International Telecommunications Union. It is utilizing our existing network of community ICT centers that are dotted around the country.
How many do we have? We
have over 200 now. I think about 100 are currently in use, and the rest are being refurbished for use, also as part of this project. But you have them in the most remote places, communities in this country. The ICT enable, they have access to the internet, and we have ICT tools in there. So the managers and officials who work there are being given training in partnership with Cisco so that they can also impart digital skills to those living in their localities and bring them up to speed on basic computer literacy, digital marketing, building of applications and software, simple websites and stuff like that, how to conduct electronic digital marketing, how to electronic commerce, and how to use basic digital tools in the work that they do. And the target groups are school dropouts, to provide them with employable skills, market women, peasant farmers.
So these are digital skills, huh?
Absolutely.
And you're saying it's targeted at the rural areas?
Absolutely.
So those of us in Accra, it doesn't benefit us?
Oh, there are community ICT centers in Accra as well.
Okay, in the communities.
In the communities.
Okay.
Because basically they are situated within communities. But what excites me about it is extending digital skills acquisition to places where they would otherwise not have got them. And that's the essence for which the digital community ICT centers were built. And so it's giving effect to that. And
so it's just a continuation of an original plan?
Well, but after a while we build them for that purpose.
Okay.
But over time, re-equipping them, some of them have been there for a while. The challenges of putting them to good use, maximum use, were also evident. But we saw this as a means of deepening digital inclusion and extending their reach beyond the catchment area of those who could walk in there. So there's going to be doing outreach programs, mobile learning centers and all that are going to be part of the work that they're doing, taking digitalization to the doorsteps of the people and making it practical.
How long is this project going to last?
For 3 years.
Okay.
But beyond that, the exciting thing about it is we are training trainers who will continue to impart those skills. So it's building in sustainability into this project. We're re-equipping these centers. Beyond the 3 years, that equipment will still be there and can still be utilized. Now, it's targeting 14,000 people. We can train even more within that 3 years and beyond. And so we can use this network, link it up with other infrastructure that we have, like the post offices that are also currently undergoing refurbishment and retooling and being connected to the internet. And all of that would be within our communities, and so we can continue to utilize them. We have existing systems that are also giving training in digital skills to those who are within the urban centers. We have the Accra Digital Center. They're running lots and lots of programs there all the time. The Ghana Tech Hub is also running programs there. The Kumasi Innovation Center is also active within that space. What we're hoping to do is to actually even extend their reach beyond the Accra, Kumasi, Takradis, and Tamales and go into smaller communities as well, using the community ICT centers.
How many people are being targeted for this 3 years?
For this 3-year period is 14,000.
Oh, 14,000 Ghanaian youth. Okay.
But we can do even more. Now, the exciting thing...
How will they be identified?
They live within the catchment area. Those who express an interest can walk in and have that done. School children can also take advantage of it. They're already using these ICT centers as part of their virtual learning experience in the community. So people walk in. I went to one in Esikado, was it? And there was a 9-year-old boy, I believe, who had come with his 6-year-old brother and was teaching his 6-year-old brother how to use the computer. So while they were on holiday, instead of you sitting at home kicking the ball, let's go and learn about the computer. So he would do his work and then turn around and say, do this, press this, do that. And I thought that was very exciting. That
do these youth have to pay for anything?
No, you don't. This project is free, and for the use of the ICT centers is also free. However, if you want to use it for some commercial activity, apply for, I think they charge a minimal fee for adults who want to use these centers for some online application process or something. But it's largely free for those in the community to access.
Has the transfer of TIGO to government taken effect?
Yes.
Is it complete?
We're in the process of it. I think we're in the closing obligations stage. Contract has been signed, and we've met the staff. and the handing over process is currently ongoing or just about to commence. So we're nearly there. Did
government have to pay any acquisition fees for this particular transfer?
I'm laughing because I don't remember the number of times I've been asked that in the past week or so. $1.
$1 is this 5 cedis 78 pesos at today's rate?
Yep.
It must be the cheapest acquisition in history.
Maybe not, because we have similar experiences in our history.
Okay.
AGC, Ashanti Goldfields Company Limited, was transferred to government in, I believe, 2018 for $1.
Okay.
And one of the textile companies, I'm not sure if it's Akosombo or Japan Textiles, one of them was also transferred to government for $1. So
you know, not everyone agrees that this transfer was done for $1. In fact, there's a member of parliament, Honorable Sam George, member of parliament for Ningo Pram Pram. He claims that this transfer was done for $25 million.
And maybe we are not talking about the same transaction, because the contract I signed says in black and white in clause 3.1 that the purchase price for the shares, about 99% of the shares that were transferred to the government, Airtel Tigo shares that were transferred to the government of Ghana, purchase price consideration $1. So maybe he's talking about another share purchase agreement, but not the one that I signed on behalf of the government of Ghana, because I don't think he will find any contract anywhere that quotes any other figure apart from $1.
What if he actually has the documentation
Let
to
him
prove
produce it?
Right.
I would be very interested to see it. So please challenge him to produce it.
Right.
So that we can all be sure that it's not a figment of his imagination.
Why did they leave the market?
For a variety of reasons. COVID made them change their investment decisions. Tigo decided that they were no longer going to invest in Africa. And so they were moving out of the continent. So if
after being here for so long.
Yes. If you check their acquisitions on the continent, they have either sold or left every market in which they were operating in Africa. They were in a joint venture with Airtel here. So since they had decided that they were leaving the continent, it impacted upon their operations here. Airtel didn't want to operate the company by itself, and so spoke earlier to government about a possible partnership, and we were of the opinion that if it didn't work out with Tigo, merely changing the partners wouldn't make much of a difference. So if Tigo had left, and they were also considering leaving if they didn't get a partner, they should think about that. And so after a series of very intense negotiations, they decided that then they would hand it over to government to manage, confident of the fact that we would be able to resolve many of the challenges that were plaguing the company and enable them to have a cleaner bill of health and more room within which.
When you talk of challenges that were affecting the company, you know, there were a lot of local subscribers who were not happy about the service they were receiving. Is this something that is going to be improved, or is the same, it's just a continuation of the same service, or perhaps worse?
Oh, it cannot be a continuation or a worsening of the situation. We intend to improve upon the service. And so we've met with the staff and the management. They've indicated some of the measures that they have in place. We're going to have more meetings with them in the course of the coming weeks and sending assistance where they require it. They would need some short-term financial assistance. Government is committed to providing that. We have worked through the negotiations to clean up the balance sheet considerably, and so a substantial chunk of the debts that they were saddled with have gone with this acquisition, and so it frees them up to enter into other arrangements, financing arrangements with other financing authorities, and we would facilitate that process. So I'm confident that based on the track record, expertise of the current management, the few personnel that we will be sending in to assist them, the determination of the staff to make a difference in managing this asset, that before long we'll be seeing a marked improvement in the services that they provide.
Will the name stay the same?
For the rest of the year, yes. Nothing much is going to change. Beyond that, I can't tell. It will be the management that will decide, working in conjunction with the shareholders. Yes.
Okay, shareholders being government.
Absolutely.
Let me take you back to the media, but this time where regulation is concerned. We recently found out that some television stations are going to be, have they all been shut down yet? Some are they're being shut down, they're in breach of regulatory
46 have been shut down.
Okay.
Out of 49 currently.
Why is there an outstanding?
There are 2 that are broadcasting from outside the jurisdiction.
Okay.
And so the NCA is looking at modalities for blocking their transmission. There is one in Tamale which was in breach, so to speak, because the NCA itself hadn't done some inspections that they were required to do. And so it was through no fault of theirs. And so that inspection has either been done or is ongoing. And then the outcome of that will determine whether they still stay on air or are taken off air. So I checked last night on the current status of these 49 stations which were in breach of their authorization or were operating without authorization, and 46 of them have been taken off air.
Have been closed. Now, was it a case of them not having licenses because that's what we're first told, or was it a matter of unwholesome content?
No, this wasn't an issue of content. The NCA does not deal with content. That's the mandate of the NMC. And so we look at the spectrum and the equipment. And then the legal authorization for using that spectrum. And so they looked at all those parameters and decided that based on the evidence in their records, these 49 were in breach and have taken the steps mandated by the law to shut them down.
Some people think the NCA wasn't exactly on top of its mandate because some of these stations had been broadcasting for years. How did we miss it?
Well, things fall through the cracks. My information is that they have acquired a broadcast monitoring service, which gives them the capability of monitoring all the stations that are broadcasting currently. And it is that tool that enabled them to home in on those which were broadcasting without authorization or with expired authorization or whatever. What has happened has already happened. What's important is how they manage their affairs going forward. No use crying over spilled milk. And so better late than never. I'm happy that now they've acquired the capability to track these stations more accurately and more regularly and spot those who are falling through the cracks. There are those who are broadcasting through the terrestrial television network and others who are broadcasting over satellite. It was easy to monitor those who were broadcasting terrestrially than those who were broadcasting via satellite. And it is this tool that has enabled them to block these unauthorized stations that were broadcasting. So going forward, I expect them to be even more proactive and send timely reminders.
More proactive because, there's quite the perception that it's a bit reactionary. Is it in any way linked to the recent alleged ritual murders that the teenagers were involved in?
It's possible that the recent occurrences made them look more closely at the space. I don't know. But I know that they acquired the broadcast monitoring system well before the ritual murders, but you have to monitor it for a period before you are sure that they are either acting illegally or legally. And so I think over a 3-4 month period or so, they were monitoring it. And then they decided that the time was, maybe it's an interesting coincidence, maybe it expedited their action. They may have taken that eventually, but this focused their minds to act quickly. Be that as it may, it has happened, and I'm hoping that they will continue along this trajectory and be more proactive as a regulator of the spectrum and infrastructure in this space.
Ghana seems to have held in a huge tech player, being Twitter. Some government officials attribute it to the good work of government. Some people attribute it to the good young people of Ghana who have made the country very visible in positive light. How did Twitter get interested in Ghana? Do you have some insight?
It's a bit of both.
Okay.
Good governance played a good part of it. That's not just the good work of government, but good work of government and the good people of Ghana as well. We are a haven of peace and stability in a fairly unstable region. We have, since 1993, been practicing successful multi-party democracy over time, despite what our own people are saying. When it comes to press freedom, we're doing an incredible amount of good work.
Very debatable.
It's not debatable. The facts are there. I mean, I've told you, we've been through a very dark period in our history, and we've come out and we are in this space where there's a cacophony of expression on the media everywhere you go. Traditional media, look at the number of newspapers we have, radio stations we have, running into over 500 TV stations we have, all broadcasting whatever content they like without censorship and speaking freely, whether you like it or not. Everybody is expressing themselves freely. So when you look at, and we live in this sub-region, so they are our peers that we're benchmarked against. We're way better than most. And we need sometimes to be proud of the successes that we've achieved as a nation and not knock ourselves too hard.
Eh?
Yes,
Okay.
we're not doing too badly. We've also worked quite a bit on freedom of the internet. We chaired the Freedom Online Coalition last year, and we're the first African country to chair that August International organization that works to promote free online, a freedom of expression online. And we've chaired it and did an exceptional job of it. And so all of that played on the minds of Twitter when they were looking at a location for the African headquarters.
Right.
We also have fairly stable electricity. Not everybody will agree because of
another debatable one. Another debatable one, but please proceed.
Compare yourself with Nigeria and you will jump for joy.
Well, hopefully we never get to that point. Yes.
No, we can't ever get to that point based on the investment that has been made in the past and is being made currently to improve the transmission network, the generation capacity and all that. We have come a very long way and are not doing badly at all. So comparatively, we have strengths, and it is that which gave us an edge over those who were, I mean, our neighbors in Nigeria were very upset.
Nigeria is very, indeed, very upset, quite a little jealous, and it has been widely debated on Twitter, especially. It even became a virtual argument between Ghanaian youth and Nigerian youth, but I'm sure it was all in friendly
good
banter.
Taste,
Yes. If you're watching, this is MX24. You're watching Spotlight. We're having quite a hearty conversation with the Minister of Communications and Digitization, Honorable Ursula Owusu-Ekuful. We'll be back after the break.
Smiles are one of the most important things we have. Globally, 1 in 2 children suffer from cavities. Pepsodent with maximum cavity protection repairs tiny holes before they become cavities. Because every smile matters.
You know, texting while driving isn't safe, and you're calling for a video call.
But why you dey do long? Just seconds, keke. I be you know that. Eh? Spoil me with some fine sense.
Babe, are you okay? What just happened? Babe, are you okay? What just happened?
Welcome back to Spotlight on MX24, your home for fun, fearless and factual content. And today we are speaking with a woman who could actually be a poster woman for fun, fearless and factual content. Madam Ursula Owusu-Ekuful, Minister for Communication and Digitalization. She's also a Blekuma West Member of Parliament. Before we went on the break, we're talking about Twitter and the enviable status that it has given us as Ghanaians, so much bragging rights. But there's also another aspect where we've started complaining already, and you know we are Ghanaians. This is bound to happen. This has to do with the vacancies that have been posted for employment within the organization. Now, people complain that a lot of them are more suited to other nationals than to Ghanaians.
Why?
There have been some where the requirements include speaking Yoruba. Is this because probably, well, the African headquarters, so it should be catering, is it here to cater to just Ghanaians or all of Africa?
It is the African headquarters, so it is catering to all of Africa. So all speakers on the continent also have to feel that it is addressing their needs, concerns, and interests. And so it can't just be a Ghanaian thing. We're hosting their headquarters for the continent. It is not just their operations in Ghana, no. And so we need to be magnanimous and share it with some of our neighbors. And the good thing is that they would be housed here. And so we would get a bigger slice of the pie than others. But we do need to take advantage of the opportunities. It won't be handed to us on a silver platter. So, yes, if you don't speak Yoruba, you also speak Twi and English and all of that, which is also part of the requirements that they have.
There are actually some vacancies that do not require
a language.
Yes.
So let's see where we can also slot ourselves in and then utilize it. I mean, we can't be greedy or selfish. We need to share with others as well and let them also feel the presence of it. Now they want to, Jack Dorsey is coming to stay here in Ghana, but would be using this as his base to reach out to other parts of the continent for 6 months. And I'm hoping that his friends will follow him to Ghana and see what an amazing country we have.
Great marketing, huh?
Yep. and also come and set up here. So this is the first of probably many other such opportunities that we're going to get as a continent. So let's just keep watching this space and then building our own capacity to take advantage of the unfolding opportunities.
Honorable, let's go into Ablekuma West. 3 terms. It's possible, but not very common. Is there something you're doing that's earning you so much time within the constituency?
Well, meeting the needs of the residents of the constituency. You can't do it all. And even now, there's still people who complain that a lot of the things that they want haven't been done. We still need better roads in the networking parts of the constituency. Security can be improved, street lighting, drainage.
Security can be improved all over the country.
You know, and job opportunities for the young people. I'm encouraging them to fit into the Twitter space because that's an opportunity that they can also take advantage of. So yes, it's taking a lot of hard work, and I love interactions with the ordinary folks, and so I try as much as I can to keep in touch with them. It isn't as easy as I would have liked because of time constraints, but within the challenges that we have, we make time to hang out now and again.
What has been your biggest challenge in politics?
It's plenty.
Give us one.
Biggest challenge. I don't even know how to rank it. For me as a woman, the biggest challenge has been being given an opportunity to even engage within this sphere. It's as if you are here under sufferance. They are allowing you to do a little politics in this space. We form 51%, you know. 51%, 52% of the population. We deserve a seat at the table. 52% of the seats in parliament should be occupied by women instead of the less than 20% that we have currently. So
which it's just coming to. But let's finish with Ablekuma.
It's a constant struggle, and you'd get this patriarchal attitude being thrown at you. How dare you, a woman, even speak to me that way? And
people complain of the dirty language used against women in politics.
I do.
How do you survive it?
You have to develop a thick skin. But I pray that it should end with this generation, our generation of female politicians. They shouldn't do it to your generation. Let them throw it at us. We are.
You are clearing the way for yes.
Like a thin edge of the wedge, the nail, the tip surface and the head surface that blows most. But once you make the hole and the rest of the nail is going in, it is seamless. We've stood on the shoulders of other female forebears to get where we are. We need to create a bit more space and room for the younger generation to also engage. So I see myself as doing a little bit more to move the frontiers for equal participation of women. Money, the monetization of our politics is also a major challenge, which puts off other very qualified people. It's becoming more and more expensive to be a politician in this country, and that's not good for us. It's as if our democracy is now becoming on sale to the highest bidder, who may not necessarily be the best material, and we need to look at that. And people have become more demanding.
Some people think it's the politicians who are competing with money to be taken, to be chosen by the voting population.
Not really.
Is it the people or is it the politicians?
It is the people who are demanding it, and it's the politicians who are feeding that demand. So it is a two-way street. Now,
demand meets supply.
Exactly. All of us need to take a good look at the kind of society we're building for ourselves and decide if that's the way we want to go. If we do not change the trajectory on which we are, before long, the electorate will be demanding houses and cars from us before they go and line up to vote. It may seem a joke now, but we are rushing headlong to that unsustainable situation, and it worries me.
A bit of a high-handed approach here, maybe put a cap on political spending, especially during campaigns?
Others have done so in other jurisdictions. We need to look at it and not just pass the legislation, but enforce it, or the regulations, but make sure they work. Because even if you look at the rules on political party financing under our laws currently, none of the parties would meet that mark. They've all failed, without exception, mine included, have all failed the bar or the rules set for political party financing. But it all shows that then the rules are either unrealistic or we are just flouting it with impunity. And we cannot continue like this. Very excellent material would not be able to participate either at the district assembly level, it's gotten to that level now, parliament, or presidential leadership if we continue like this. It's getting scary out there, and I should know. I'm a practitioner.
Do you intend to run for a 4th term?
Right now, yes. I look at the composition of parliament currently and the high attrition rate and how it has affected the quality of the work that we do in the House. The more you do something, the better you get at it. So all of us have to decide what kind of parliament we want, if we need to. And almost every new term of parliament, more than half of parliamentarians are changed. And
it seems the 8th parliament has had quite a large number of that.
Between the 7th
and 8th.
And the 8th, it's been scary. And I first entered parliament in 2013. I'm not sure
you were
how
also
many...
new then. You were also new then.
Yes. But mine was a new constituency that was created, so I didn't go and unseat any MP, you know. So the more you engage in parliamentary practice, the better you become. And you do need experience and innovation to blend and build and create an exciting and vibrant parliament. We're losing the experienced parliamentarians that we have at an alarming rate. And so even the quality of interventions that we have in the House is deteriorating.
Oh no, but the new people deserve a chance to.
That's why I'm saying you need a blend, a bit of both. You can't say you need all new, so let's throw out the old and bring in all the new. It would take them a while to build up and acquire the necessary skills to be able to navigate parliamentary practice. And my fear is that we are getting more and more people who are new, who are not taking the trouble to even learn about parliamentary practice. And then we're losing more and more of the experienced ones. Parliament can only be the poorer for it. So when I weigh all these things, then I think that maybe one last shot at it. Then in that period, right now I'm even trying to mentor a few of the younger ones and let them also, you know, come into their own. Speaking on the floor of parliament isn't easy. It's like advocating in court for the first time. Courage and confidence. But if you are a politician, public speaking shouldn't be difficult for you. It should come naturally.
You would expect so, but because these are people who have campaigned in front of thousands of people, but campaigning before your constituents and campaigning in parliament is a different thing. In parliament,
different ball
you're
game.
before your colleagues and superiors. I interviewed the member of parliament for Wa West, and he was telling me, he's also a new member of parliament. He said, the courage to rise alone, you know, it's tough, but you have to find it and be able to rise. And you know, a lot of constituents complain that they have their members of parliament in there.
They never see them or hear them.
You know, so you wonder. And then when you see them, you look at them in different ways. Like, why haven't we ever heard you speak?
It's not easy. But when we start a new parliament like we've done, we give space for the backbenchers, the new entrants, to make their opening statements. And so when they get up, the speaker will recognize them and give them an opportunity to even speak. We're even looking at amending our standing orders to create room for a backbenchers day when they would run all the activities.
It's like Parliament. Classroom when the teacher says, if you know you have never spoken, you have to speak today. Hopefully they take advantage of it.
So we're looking at ways in which it would help them to come up. They've done a few orientation sessions for them. But learning in a classroom or a conference room is very different from actual practice, standing on your feet and making an intervention. And you can get a bit of a stage fright while you're at it. But the more you do it, the more you lose it, and the more confident you become, particularly for the women. I want to encourage them to, hey, speak your mind. Everybody makes mistakes. So what's wrong with you also speaking, openly speaking?
The men are then making mistakes too. So
yeah. So what's the big deal about a woman making a mistake? It's just that we're exceptionally hard on women and raise the bar unnecessarily high.
And so you find a lot of them being worried of being criticized.
Yes, and you will be. They will even mark you from your hair due to the nail color, to lipstick, to shoes that you're wearing. Well, nobody cares two hoots, what color shirt or tie. The man
nobody even remembers.
Nobody would even remember. Wearing. But that's what makes it challenging for a woman in the public space. Your appearance should tell a story and should also portray confidence. And don't look at their face. Me, what I use as my shield is I wake up every morning and I'm sharing it with you freely. That's mine.
It will help some of the MPs.
Wake up every morning, look in the mirror and say, we're fine, girl. Because you are the apple of God's eye, made in the image and likeness of God.
And fearfully and wonderfully made.
Fearfully and wonderfully made, thank you. And there is no one out there like me.
No challenger.
So you've armed yourself with, wow, you're unique. A perfect creation in the sight of your maker. Who out there is going to stop you? So you cloak yourself with that and you step out in that confidence that your God knows you and loves you, and you're the image, you're made in the image and likeness of God himself. Please, nothing else out there can compete with you because you are unique. And I say they broke the mold after they made me. So there's no other Ursula Owusu-Ekuful out there. Only me.
No replica.
No replica. There may be some fakes that look a little like me out there, but there's nothing, no one like me.
Did I see one around here?
I think so. Masquerading around here like she looks like me small.
Alright, but what's next for Ablekuma West?
A lot. We're going to continue with the infrastructural projects that we've started. I'm keen.
So infrastructure.
Infrastructure is keen. I'm keen on providing as many of my constituents who wanted with income generating skills. Some need just small loans to start out. We've started something like that, about 5,000 have already been giving those microcredit. But I'm looking at working with institutions that will also use technology more in advancing those loans.
Technology, finance.
Yes. Digital financial instruments that would help provide micro and small loans to people.
Are we helping any women meet these criteria for the loans?
We do. We do. For the initial one that we did, we negotiated very low interest payments for them, like 2%, and I paid half of it.
That's good
for them. So you won't even feel it. It's like being given a leg up. And many took advantage of it and did something with it and transformed their lives. I still get stories about people who started at tabletop traders and are now supplying the big shops around with certain goods. So petty trading, giving them employable skills, hairdressing, baking, dressmaking, even auto mechanics, computer literacy and skills, things that will enable them to stand on their own feet. Not everybody can get a job in the public service. It's not possible. So we need to create avenues within the private sector for them to also take advantage of. And you can't do better than to have your own skills. I say me, I have done almost every job in this world before. Well, not every job in this world, I'm exaggerating there a bit. But I sold charcoal when I was growing up, because we used to sell charcoal in the house. I know how to raise poultry, we've done that. I know how to sew a little bit, I've done that.
We all need something, some skill that
trading,
helps us survive.
I've done a little bit of that, and even now I dabble in a few things. I also mix a mean cocktail, you know.
Oh, okay. It's you know, can we contract you if we have an event?
Maybe that's my retirement. I'm saving that for
retirement hustle. Now, let's go back into Parliament and our politics as a whole. There are just 40 women in Parliament, right down the middle, 2020. We have 85 ministers in Ghana, including the recent deputy ministerial nominees. In total, just 20% are women. It's a harrowing situation, especially for activists who've been fighting for a long time and seem not to be seeing significant results. Why do we have ministerial positions only 20% allocated to women? Are you not worried?
You've hit a very sore nerve with me, and I've been a lifelong advocate for women's rights and make no apologies about that. But there are structural challenges in that. How many majority of the MPs must come from Parliament? Majority. How many, by our constitution, how many women on the MPP side are in Parliament? 20 out of 137. So from get-go, the president is challenged with how to compose his government, because the material from which he can generate his team is just not there.
You think there was no wiggle room for him to put more women?
Majority of the ministers must come from Parliament. If you check, almost all the females on our side are either ministers or deputies. Majority of the women in Parliament are in government. It's just a few who are not MPs. So he has maxed out his allocation of females from Parliament. You can't go beyond that. And so to maintain that balance of the constitutional imperative, where the majority must come from Parliament, you necessarily have to make up the difference from the male members of Parliament. And that's where the fight must begin. We have to get more women into Parliament on both sides.
Should we expect the president to make it up in other appointments? Because we look at him and we see someone who claims to be a gender champion.
Who is?
Okay, but we want to see the action. What should we expect with regards to gender championship?
You know, he said something a few years ago in Canada which got a few people hot under the collar. But he was speaking the truth. He needs to appoint more women, and he knows that. Where is he going to get the women from? The women who are sitting on the sidelines, watching others fight in the very turbulent political terrain, so that they who didn't get their hands dirty will benefit from the other people's struggle. It's not going to happen. So if we want political appointments, we should get involved in politics, period. Otherwise, let's sit in our academia or civil society or private sector and also contribute to the development of our country through that. You cannot expect. Let
me get this. There are a lot of them who are not campaigning to be members of Parliament, but you think they can still be involved in politics. They should still join and campaign for maybe the party or other politicians?
You have to be active in politics at any level. And it's just a small 275 of us are members of parliament on both sides. That's just a fraction of the machinery that you need to win political power. And there are various levels at which you can support. Not everybody is good at public speaking, but others are good at organizing behind the scenes, arranging the meetings, and energizing people behind the scenes. Others are good at fundraising and supporting the machinery.
So be involved in politics somehow.
Absolutely. Then when it comes to sharing the spoils, you would definitely be considered. But I just sit by and I watch civil society activists who think that the social media activism is good. There are people who are engaged actively in politics using social media. Yeah. But you can't be a perpetual critic of the government, thinking that is your space, and expect to receive political appointment merely because you are
qualified.
Oh yeah, you may be qualified, but the others who are also qualified as you, who are involved in the political arena, who deserve to also get the job that you are craving. So
it's
the
a race.
roles are assigned, and we cannot all have political appointment, but we all have a role to play in the governance of our country. So if you are in civil society, be there, enjoy it, stay there, work there.
Honorable, I want
academia, be there, in business and professions, be there, stay there, and let us politicians to do our politics.
I want the conversation to continue. I think we need 2 hours.
You know?
But our time is up. So I want you to give me your closing remarks. Ablekuma West is listening to you. There are other people listening to you, including those who don't even like you. They are all listening. What do you have to say?
Is there anybody out there who doesn't like me? I thought I was a very likable person.
Okay.
Maybe after seeing me,
fine.
And what? A whole apple of God's eye. How can you not like me? But really, we live in a beautiful country, and all of us have something to contribute to make this unique Ghana project as vibrant as it is now. So let's see ourselves as partners and not just be too much in a hurry to pull ourselves down and to knock ourselves down. Let's celebrate our achievements. Let's be happy at people who are progressing and are doing well. Let's be honest in admitting that X, I don't really like her, but she's doing a great job. Like I know some who are listening would also say about me after this interview that I've had with you. You know, and let's encourage others to also aspire to give off their best in this space. I am all for us, like iron sharpening iron, encouraging ourselves to excel. And we do have a good thing going in this country. Sometimes the negativity is too much, and we focus so much on that we lose sight of the many good things that we have going for us. Ghana is a great place to live and work and to raise your children and to grow up. Let's not destroy the country that we have. Sometimes the incendiary comments that we throw out, the insults against ourselves is too much. We can have light-hearted banter.
Okay.
I've been doing this since 2000, media engagement since 2002. I think when I listen to some of the interactions on there, I wouldn't want to be part of that engagement. We're destroying our country with our tongues. Let's watch it.
The Honorable Minister of Communications and Digitalization, Madam Ursula Owusu-Ekuful, also Member of Parliament for Ablekuma West. She wants us to watch our tongues and contribute more positively to the development of Ghana. We spoke with her this evening on Spotlight. We are hoping we can catch her for more conversations subsequently. My name is Nwong Falong. Thank you for staying with us. Good evening.